TitleMatchNetwork.com.
Have you ever seen any other promotions out there that you think would come up and maybe compete with the WWE, or you think there's really...
I don't really see any other promotions.
Right. Now you talked a little bit about booking for John Collins. Do you think you'd be a good booker? And if you were to book for a company, what's your philosophy going to be?
First, I don't think I'm capable of booking like a whole show. You know what I mean? I think I see myself more on the lines of let somebody else have the booker job, because they got so many things to think about, and let me hone in on the things that I really see, that I understand, that I can pull a young guy aside and say, well, listen, maybe you want to do this way, like Nancy Sullivan did to me the night we did the blind angle with Tommy Dreamer and stuff like that. I wanted to do it a totally different way, but Nancy pulled me aside and she's like, listen, Hack, we might want to do it this way. It might be a little bit more believable, and goddamn, that angle turned out to be really believable because of Nancy Sullivan. You know what I mean? So I don't think I'm intelligent enough, but I don't have the mindset to be worried about this match. I'd be much more happier in a position where just give me a couple matches and let me do my thing with those guys.
What was your idea for the blinding angle?
Well, I wanted to do like the old Tommy Rich, go bleed all out through the crowd and everything like that. And she was, no, let's make it more like a shoot. You're dead on the mat. There's a moment of silence. Like, if you notice, if you ever look at that again, and that's where I learned this look thing that I do in all my matches now, and I call it a frozen moment in time. It's like when Tommy hits me, I hit the mat, I'm bleeding. Nancy looks at Tommy, looks down at me, looks back at Tommy. Tommy looks at me, looks back at Nancy. You know, let everybody absorb what's going on. And then she goes, ah! And she goes to cover me up. You know what I mean? That was all her idea, and that's what gave the credibility to the angle, more so than me flopping around like a fish out of water, bleeding all over the crowd. You know what I mean?
Right. Has your gimmick ever hurt you from getting booked elsewhere at all?
I don't know, because I don't know. I don't hear about the people that don't want to book me. I just hear about the people that want to book me, you know?
Right. Girls in wrestling, Francine and other girls like that, and I'm not saying she's a rat at all, but I'm saying what girls in wrestling were just flat out rats?
Girls that worked in the business? See, I don't really know, because I never like dealt with them a lot. All I cared about was getting high with my boys, you know what I mean? I didn't really pay attention to what anybody else was doing, you know? Especially in ECW, if any girl was there, she was there for a reason, except maybe come on, I want to lay you. You know what I mean? I don't know what her deal was.
Right. How'd she even get into the business? Just
like I said,
dancing.
I have no idea what her deal is. I think maybe Scotty brought her in.
All right. Do you think Metallica knows about your gimmick?
I have no idea.
All right. What about Tommy?
Well, but it was so long ago,
right.
You know, and we weren't really established then. We were both feeling our way through our characters and stuff like that, you know what I mean? If it had gone on for something longer, but it was like, it might have been, even if it lasted a year or so, but it was back in like 93, and I can't even watch old tapes of me back then, because I'm just like, what the hell was I thinking then? What was I doing then? You know what I mean? So yeah, I loved working with Tommy, but I didn't. I'd love to do it again now, because we both know so much more and we would do it so much better.
If you and Tommy were able to work together again, what do you think you guys could do in this day of age? Don't you think it would be so much bigger than it was back then?
Well, see, the whole thing is with me and Tommy is neither one of us is like a big high flyer or anything like that. If you have the good storyline, you have the good show, and that's the bottom line.
Right. As far as ECW, what was your favorite moment in ECW?
Probably my return.
At the arena?
Yeah, the return was the favorite. Because you got to understand, when you're doing some things, like, you don't realize how good they are until it's hindsight and it's in retrospect. You know what I mean? A lot of the things that I was doing was cutting edge stuff, like with me and Raven, and put me on the cross angle, and me and Dreamer, and doing the stuff with my kid and Scotty, taking my kid and my wife. It was real cutting edge, but I really didn't know how good it was until I looked at it a couple years later.
As far as ECW goes, what is your favorite ECW angle that you were involved in? Would it be the blinding angle, or?
Yeah, the blinding angle, Terry Funk out of the box angle. Me and Sabu was a lot more just like great matches rather than a reason to have a lot of heat. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't really call that much of an angle, but yeah, Funk out of the box and the blind angle and Raven taking Tyler and my wife.
What are your thoughts on the state of the Indies right now?
I don't really know enough to say here and there about it.
You've wrestled in front of like a lot of fans here in Philly and New York and Jersey and stuff like that. What do you think the differences between the fans are?
The Philly is a totally different breed of animal than there is anywhere else in the world that I've worked. Philly, the fans are might as well, they consider themselves in the ring part of the match. You know what I mean? And that was the best thing about working the arena and with the ECW and stuff like that. They were part of the damn show. You know what I mean? They were just as much as part of, like, Al Snow couldn't have been as over as the head if there wasn't 1,000 people in that audience shaking their head and screaming head. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. Bam Bam Bigelow throwing Spike into the audience and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Philly's just like absolutely crazed. And I always thought that Philadelphia was, especially when it came to other sports, that were some of the smartest sports people in the country. I'm talking about baseball, basketball, and stuff like that. But I really wasn't so sure about it when it came to wrestling with the fans, because I think in the deep, dark recesses of their minds, they know it's a work, but they don't want to believe it's a work, so they're in there for the whole show. You know what I mean? It's either that or they're total buffoons. Huh. So I'd rather err on the side of that they're really smart. They just want to be entertained, and they want to release.
You think Steve Corino is a great champion, or he's a good choice for a champion in ECW?
Yeah, the best thing about Steve Corino at the time is that one night he could be working against a heel, one night he could be working against a baby face. Steve, it wasn't like he was a heel champ and he would take on just baby faces, you know what I mean? Steve was like a chameleon. He could work with anybody, and the kid's a hell of a worker.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, what are your thoughts on Steve?
Hell of a worker.
Both you and Steve had your kids involved in wrestling angles. You think we'll ever see down the line Colby versus Tyler?
Somebody else brought that up to me. Who not? To tell you the honest to God's truth, I don't want my son to have anything ever in his life to do with professional wrestling except sit in front of his television and watch it.
Has Tyler ever talked about his angles that he did with Raven, or is it something?
No, you got to remember, he was 5 years old the first time he was in that whole angle. He might have been 6 years old by the end of that angle. You know what I mean? So I mean, how much can a 15-year-old kid remember about that time? You know what I mean? It's just a blur to him.
Right.
Title Match Network, your source for everything pro wrestling, with exclusive live pay-per-views featuring top talent from around the world.
I like that one.
Details direct from the source with deep diving shoot interviews and podcasts.
I love it. I love being a part of Title Match Network.
Get extreme with exclusive death matches.
I threw the door!
And of course, the best selection in women's wrestling available.
Oh! What's gonna happen? Oh!
With thousands of clips featured on Title Match Network's YouTube channel with over 2.3 million subscribers.
Oh!
All at the tips of your fingers. Every style available 24/7 on demand. Visit TitleMatchNetwork.com to sign up today and start watching instantly.
Watch thousands of exclusive shoot interviews right now on TitleMatchNetwork.com.
TitleMatchNetwork.com